Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a video I felt inspired to do this morning. I was sitting down and just kind of pulling out those few things in the morning that just get me so excited to put on my makeup. Do you guys have those products where you're just like, I love this, I cannot wait to use this, I can't wait to see how this performs all day, I can trust it. So yeah, our friends at Boxycharm used to be my go-to place for a lot of my amazing, great products. Unfortunately, a lot of us know over the past little bit of time, we won't get specific with it, we've had a hard time getting the quality products that are makeup inspired that we've really loved. But there are still the add-ons, drop-off, pop-ups, whatever the heck they're calling them. Pop drop shops, mega drop shops, things like that. Those are still in the works and in play, but also just a reminder, you can buy all of these products in the wild as well. And usually by the time they get to Boxycharm anyway, they've been around for a few seasons. So there's not only, a great amount of quality reviews out there to let you know about a product to see if you're interested to put your money into it, but also sometimes you can get them on great deals like at Ulta or Sephora or the brand themselves. So today's video is all about makeup, and it's all about the things that I have discovered through Boxycharm and love. Maybe I've repurchased them. Maybe they're just things I'm always recommending when like the mega drop shops, pop-ups, whatever are scrolling through, and I'm on my Instagram letting you know. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can follow me right here. And also, I'm gonna give you some of the more updated recommendations in this video, because some things I have recently repurchased again for maybe a second time or third time, but also there are some things in here that I have trusted to be that quality makeup that I would recommend if you do see it on a sale or if you're in the market to purchase. So if you want to talk about some Boxycharm makeup or at least makeup that's been introduced to me from Boxycharm that I have given the thorough test to and love and recommend, grab your tea, grab your snack, grab your limoncello water, get comfy, because we're going to go through a bunch of makeup together. I may need to even talk fast. Cheers! Something that kind of inspired this video this morning was because in a very recent drop shop, I did purchase more of some of the products that I really love and trust, and I've used them now for over a year. I have repurchased them twice, 3 times for my complexion products, and I love them. For summer, spring, but all year round. If you saw a recent video, you already know I did purchase another one of my Natasha Denona Transformatte Pore Vanishing Foundations. I love these. I did get it in a different shade. I got it in 35R Light Medium. It's got a red undertone. My normal favorite is 40N Light Medium Neutral because I have more of a neutral undertone. But I did want to try some more color ranges to see how they suit me as the sun comes out more, as the seasons progress. I still love this formula. I think if you have skin anything like mine, I highly recommend it. I won't talk too long about it because I know I don't shut up about it as it usually is. So I'm going to jump right into the next thing that is perfect for spring and summer. And for those of us that maybe have kind of like pulled back a touch on the makeup and we're a little bit more interested in having that natural but beautiful look about us, whether we're on a Zoom, whether we're going out, or whether we're just staying at home and looking good for ourselves. This is the Pure 4-in-1 Tinted Moisturizer. Again, this is one I recently purchased again, this time for the 3rd time. The first one I got was like in an LG shade, so it's a little bit of a lighter tone. I've also purchased the MN3 for more of a medium, and TN5, which is a more tan version for this upcoming summer. I have found that this tinted moisturizer can absolutely act as a foundation. I've actually had friends reach out to me and ask, hey, what's something that you like that gives you just enough coverage, but it's a tinted moisturizer, not a foundation? Every time, this is the first thing on top of my brain, and I always send them this link because I love this. It is a touch pricey at more like $35, and all of the Natasha Denona foundations, just so you know, have been a bit cheaper as well. But I think it's worth the $35 retail because I, like I said, have purchased it over and over again. I have tried a few other brands as well, but this one impresses me so much. You can do a light hand with it and get just enough coverage that it looks like your skin but better, or you can do even more of the your skin but better with a little bit more blur if you add another layer. I think this is stunning. I have worn this as a total foundation with a little bit of concealer and nobody would be the wiser. It just looks so beautiful. I love it. Highly recommend those Complexion products if you do see them in the Boxycharm add-ons or Sephora or Ulta. And something else that I recently purchased but I've not told you guys about yet is something that I'm still working on for this upcoming season, but I did purchase a second one because I wanted a better shade for my skin tone, because the first time I got it in a Boxycharm, the color match was way off and it was my fault. So I saw this roaming around again in the drop shops and I purchased the KVD Lock-It Powder Foundation. This time I purchased it in medium 145. It is a tone that I think works way better for me. It's something that I'm going to be able to use. The other one was way too pale. I had to do a lot of finessing with it to make it work. I could make it work, but it was one of those things where I'm like, the point for me of a powder foundation is to do less work. Just put on enough to look good and go. So this is something I'm still trying behind the scenes, but because I was really impressed with the formula the first time, that made me want to buy it in my own shade. So fingers crossed, I really love this spring, but I knew that the formula was great. I found this to be just enough coverage to not look too cakey, but to be very complimentary to my skin. Not bunch, not crunch, any of those things. I got it in a pop-up, add-on, whatever we're calling them now, so I wanted to let you know I think it is worthy of that if you do like a powder foundation or you're curious about a good one, because I have tried a few, but this is the most recent one that impressed me formula-wise. If you've been here a minute, you know I love powders. Powders are my jam. I've got quite a bit of research in my own personal face investigations to tell you I have found one that really competes with a lot of them from the Boxycharm boxes. I've actually purchased a backup through the drop shops, and I'm still on my first one, but I didn't want to get to a position where I was going to be out of it and need another one. You see this, which you could find this probably in like a Sephora or Ulta 21-day sale as well, or just on sale this summer. You never know. If you see it in Boxycharm, also message me on Instagram so I can be aware, because I'm always looking to try some different shade ranges for the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Loose Powder. I love this. You've heard me talk about it a ton over the past year. It's a very finely milled powder that moves with your skin. I have oily, bossy, pored skin. I know some people, whoo, it's already spilling everywhere, swear by this just as much as I do, that have different skin textures and different skin needs than I do. I think this powder, super creamy. This is just a touch of it on my finger without being blended so you can kind of see it. I think it is a fabulous powder. Makes my skin look so good, so blurred. It doesn't add any texture or cakiness. It's a perfect powder for a lot of different skin types. I don't like a lot from Fenty, I'll be honest. There's not a ton that I have tried that I've been gaga over. Ooh, Gaga's another brand now, isn't she? Never mind. There's just not been a lot that has impressed me from Fenty, and there are just a few that stand out that when they hit home, I want you to know about it, and this is definitely one for me personally. Something that at first I really gave a bad review to because I didn't understand how to use it. I didn't really like it. I have learned to really appreciate it now, and I feel like spring and summer is when the majority of people might actually love this product. Unless you are a babe that likes a more natural look all year round, then you could love this all the time. But it's a Tarte product that I was really hoping was going to be kind of like an old school Becca product that was for under eye brightening, and it is not that. It is not that. This does some form of concealing, I would say, but it also illuminates, not brightens, which is a little different. Let me explain. This is the Tarte Shape Tape Glow Wand, and at first I really did not like this. I didn't understand what the heck it was, how to use it properly. I followed the instructions. I think I even tried it multiple ways at first. But you guys are the reason I fell in love with this. Really, you should pat yourselves on the back. I always love learning from you guys. I know a lot of you guys say you come to me for, well, having a good afternoon, or you just need a pick-me-up, or you want to learn about makeup. I learn just as much from you, and you guys pick up my day just as much. So the Tarte Shape Tape Glow Wand is an interesting little beast. What I have found I like to do is put on my skincare, do the primers, let everything soak into my skin, have its own moment, and then instead of doing concealers or foundations first, I will go into this. And then what I will do, I'll put the doe foot under the eyes, and it actually has some coloration to it. But don't be worried if it's maybe a touch too warm or too cool or too red for you, because it kind of is a touch too pink for me. And then I take my finger and then I massage it, tap it, buff it under the eye. I generally focus in this area right here, just kind of pat it. Sometimes I like to use my ring finger because that one has less pressure, so it's not pushing things up and in. It just lightly pulls it around, and then I just kind of keep working it till it looks like my skin, but a little glowy right in here. And this really makes it look like my skin is a natural, dewy, juicy, like I've been really hydrated. Can you kind of see that on the back of my hand? I don't know if you'll be able to. I hope so. And then I just kind of let this sit. Now, I do have creasing eyes naturally. I have big expressive eyes, and there is no kind of like taming them. So I will still kind of like pat it out a little bit and then go into my complexion products, usually then the foundation. And sometimes I feel like I want a concealer when I have this on, sometimes I don't. It just depends on what kind of makeup I'm using, how thick the foundation is, what's the vibe I'm going for. It helps to illuminate and make this area look juicy and dewy, not like brightened like maybe the ColourPop No Filter Concealer does, or some other ones that are similar to that. It just kind of makes it go better with your skin, especially if you have some dark under eyes. I don't know, I have learned to appreciate this product for specific looks and times for me. Not every day, but when I'm wanting maybe something that is a natural workday makeup look that makes me look put together if I end up on a Zoom call, but nothing that I feel like I needed the full, like, 30 to 40 minutes to do makeup on. It just kind of gives you that nice awake look and makes you look youthful, which I always appreciate, especially under the eyes in the morning. I don't really like this sponge too much, still not my favorite. Again, I prefer to use my phalanges just to kind of press it in, let it rest, let it have a moment. I can see myself using this more as the weather warms up, because that tends to be when I do a lot more of my natural looks. This is kind of a nice little secret ingredient to add in from time to time. So definitely wanted to share that. And I do believe I've seen that roaming the add-ons from time to time. Now I need to talk about brows just a bit. And brows are not my favorite part of makeup, as many of you guys know, but I do appreciate when I am introduced to quality brands. I have repurchased some of these several times. I've even found one at a TJ Maxx that I now have a backup of because I like it that much. And I'm pretty sure the color on it was like, my color is taupe. And when I first got it, I ragged on it. I was like, taupe? Does this hair look like taupe would work for it? Oh, I don't know if this works for blondes or not, because it works for me. I've got a few pencils to tell you about and some powders that I have hit all of the pan on. Do you guys want a pan video soon? I've got a couple new pan things I've got going in here. So the two brow pencils that I have fallen in love with are the REALHER Brow Pencil and the $1 Billion Brows Pencil. These two are really pigmented, creamy, but not too creamy. Pencil tip that really flows well for the brows, and it doesn't overwhelm. And I like the spoolie on it as well, because then it tends to blend out with the natural brow, so it makes it way easier to layer and do multiple things to a brow if you need to, like I do. These are both pretty interchangeable for me. I like them a lot, but because they are on the touch of the creamier side, I do tend to go through them a little faster than maybe I do, say, my e.l.f. definer pencil, because that's a lot more firm, so you kind of take a lot more time to put them on and you use less product. This I feel like is way easier to use, both of these, but they're creamier, but they last. I love them, especially for this up front area where your girl is definitely missing some brow. And it's from the 90s, and when we all were doing that Pam Anderson brow, that according to TikTok and some Instagram people, the 90s brow is back. All right, you guys know, because we're smart, we know we're not going backwards. We're not doing that whole pencil brow thing, and by pencil brow, I don't mean these pencils. I mean thin pencil line brows. We're not doing that. Let Gen Z learn the hard way if they're not going to learn from the first time around. This is why they say history repeats itself if you don't learn your lessons. Ugh. Education is important, kids, including beauty education. Anyway, rant over. I love these two a lot. They're my ultimate favorites right now from a brand that isn't drugstore that I learned about from Boxy, but also this powder. I have a backup already because I'm almost done. This is the BrowBar by Rema True Glam Brow Makeover Kit in dark. The powders are my favorite. I don't use the cream too much, but as you can see, I have pan on both the dark brown and the black. After I do some of the definer micro pencils through the brow, kind of get the brow started, get the shape going. The best way to finish an eyebrow look for me, especially if I'm gonna go on camera or be taking photos, is to go into a powder very lightly with just any angled definer brush. This one's one of my favorites that's from Tarte Pro. Just run it through the brow. It definitely just gives it that richer look that kind of blends better with my hair, but also allows the brows to have some more complexity to them, look a little less sparse, look a little less pale, and it blends so darn nicely. It's one of my favorite things to do, like as that finishing piece. Like you powder down your makeup on your face, why not your brows? For me, that works the best. My brows are fickle. It's one of my favorites, and as you can see, I have used this up. So I have another one because I'm almost done with this. Also, pro tip, I have a special brush that I always leave alone. I don't ever touch it with my face because it would be a catastrophe because I use it with this palette. A face brush for this palette? How so? Why? Let me tell you. Pro tip. I use this dome-shaped brush here with this palette when I dip into these as well, which is probably also how I've hit so much pan on both of them. When your girl is in between hair color touch-ups, you know, because I go like every 6 to 8 weeks. So if it gets to a point where right up front I got a couple of those white hairs up there, I just touch into this, go right up here at the top of the crown, wherever it is, and it blends so nicely in with the hair that it just kind of does a little bit of concealing for you. It's perfect. I mean, it's a two-way product. I appreciate it a lot. Pro tip from me to you. Ooh, it's apparently getting super windy outside because a storm is kind of like blowing through up north here in Florida. So if you hear some extra wind or anything, it's just Mother Nature having a moment. It's fine. It's spring. I think we all know how Mother Nature gets in springtime. We have no control. Let the woman be. Give her a Snickers. Now, usually at this point in my makeup, after I have done complexion products, powdered a bit, done the brows, that tends to be when I do a little bit more of the face powders, the face products, like the bronzers, the blushes, the highlighters, and then I kind of move from there. I like to go in the order that I do my face. Now, I have had a couple of different things through time that I've told you guys I love, that I've hit so much pan on, but this is a little bit more of my updated version of things that I have been obsessed with. Because a lot of you guys know I have already talked to death about my Too Faced Chocolate Gold Soleil bronzer. This is one of my favorites, obviously. You can tell, right? This isn't about her, although she's still good if you see her. There was a face palette that I had never seen online before. It came to us in a Boxycharm, and I was like, this is gold. This is stunning, but you don't think it's going to be stunning because it's all shimmers. And whether you have oily skin or normal skin or combo skin or dry skin, a lot of us were like, all shimmers? I don't know about this. I don't know. Like a lot of people were like, I don't even want to try it. And then those of us that were brave enough to be like, all right, I'm going to take one for the team and try it and let you all know, we fell in love with it. We couldn't believe how blendable, how smooth, how much it did not make us all look like we had glitter on our faces or were oily grease balls throughout the day. Then it made everybody feel like, okay, let me toe in the water with this product. And now all of us love it. And it's not something I found on the brand's website for a long time. I only found it with Boxy. This is the Glowdient palette. How many of you were really scared of this product at first? Don't lie to me. We're friends here. We're all friends. How many of you were scared of this thing? And then once you either saw me, yourself, someone else try it, you became like a convert and you're like, this is good. How does this witchcraft work that we all don't look like the Tin Man with all of like the glow on our faces all over? How? I don't know. I don't know how they do it. It's witchcraft and makeup, and I'm happy to have it. This is on my face today. This has been on my face quite a bit. This is the Touch and Soul Pretty Filter Glowdient Makeup Palette. This is something I got last year at some point in time, and I could not believe how good it was. And I was looking at it going, well, this is a little bit of everything though, right? I mean, we're seeing some bronzers, we're seeing some blush products, and we're seeing highlighter. How does this work? Again, we don't know. We don't question the makeup gods. We just allow them to do what they do. My favorite thing right now, favorite thing to do with this palette isn't even the highlighter. No, I've got so many great highlighters. This is good too. This is quality too. Still use it. But the thing that shocks me that I love about it the most is the darkest shade here, and this is where I've hit like the most dip into the product. Can you see the dip into this piece up here? Like there's definitely a dip, there is an edge here, because I use this all the time. I take an angled brush. This happens to be an Alamar one. Again, something I got from Boxycharm back in the good old days. I take this brush, I go to the sides of this brush, literally the sides like that. So there's just product on the edges, this side and this side. And I already have it on, so I will probably look a wreck if I do it too much right now, but I just do in the hollows of the cheeks for a contour right there. Like you see here right now. We know this is probably gonna be too much to do it again, but you know, it blends. The shocking part is it blends. So you can definitely see how natural that's going to look. It just kind of looks like a gorgeous natural hollow of the cheek in a way, because it's not overwhelming. It's not a matte powder, so it doesn't look like the fake shadow. I don't know. It's so much different. It's so much more different than I thought it would be. But because I already have makeup on, I am going to take a little bit of a fluffier brush that just has some old product on it and blend it a bit. And it's shocking how well this blends. It is definitely just blending out so nicely. You don't need as much, obviously, as I have on right now. That was, again, another layer for demonstration purposes, because how else would you believe me? You may not. That's all I did today for those contours of the face, and then just a light bit of bronzer, and that was it, in a totally different tone, totally different shade. I even, believe it or not, use that same technique to go down the nose on each side, and it doesn't make my nose look like Rudolph, but with brown tone to it. It doesn't. It gives it a nice natural contour that complements my normal skin. And maybe it is because I have oily skin that it just kind of looks good, looks fine. I don't know how to describe it, but this palette has come through for me in so many ways that I have seen this in the add-ons, drop shops, whatever you want to call them. I recommend her. If you see her in a sale, you see her roaming the internets and you can purchase her, I love this. Love the whole palette. Still love the blush pieces of it, love the highlighter parts of it, all of it. Another bronzer that I was truly shocked that I liked it. I really didn't have good vibes about it at first. I really thought I was going to hate it. And then on first use, I fell in love with this matte bronzer. And I was currently, when I got this bronzer, in the throes of a huge love affair with my, shimmery bronzer from, Too Faced. We know the story. We know the deal. I can't seem to find this online anywhere else. So Boxycharm did us a favor by giving us the iconic London Ultimate Bronzing Powder. It's huge. Like, look how big this thing is. This is a huge compact. It has a huge, gorgeous mirror to it. I have already used it so much with the big fluffy brush you just saw me using that the entire logo in the center is gone. It is beautiful. This builds, this layers. It has a nice, I don't want to call it a neutral undertone. It's a bit more of a warmer undertone, but it's nothing I can't buff down if I need to, but it also looks gorgeous when I have a bit more of a golden tan. I can also use it more like on the body, because if I have done a little bit of contour, you do kind of need to do a little bit more, but if you need to blend things, it goes well with that as well, because you just saw me doing all of the things. Goes well on the body, kind of down the neck. It's a glorious product. I am obsessed with this. I have traveled with this. I use it very, very regularly. I'm going to be able to use this for quite some time too, because it's huge and it's one of my favorite bronzers now. And I was only into shimmery bronzers at the time. So, if it's that good to make you switch from what you're using, that's a good product. Okay, so now we definitely are going to need to talk about some other illuminating products. So bear with me when I tell you these bougie brands, okay? Because they're really good and I got them on a deal or in a box. Highly recommend. And I've seen them in the drop shop. I have actually bought a second one of these in another shade because I fell in love with it. I have the light and the medium from Natasha Denona. in the All Over Glow. This one here is an 02 medium, and I use this one even more, I think. The one light shade is one that I also love to use on the face, on the body. I've even mixed and matched these two. They give a gorgeous, subtle glow. This is actually the darker one, the 02. It's actually what I'm wearing today on the body, on the face, and it gives, you can build it up, which I kind of did, but it also gives a nice subtle glow. It's that very diffused, glowy skin, healthy, hydrated boost that your skin looks stunning with. Love these so much. Got one, bought another one in the pop-up, and I have seen it every now and again, Roman. You kind of got to keep your eye out for Natasha because she's kind of like one of those wildlife channels. You got to wait, you got to be on the hunt, and then when she's there, you got to pounce fast because it's gone really quick. Another bougie brand that I'm so grateful to have gotten from, I think either a premium or a luxe box, was the Laura Mercier Matte Baked Powder. This is just as stunning as the Natasha Denona. This one is in Highlight 01, and it is a subtle but can be built up to be a glorious golden glow on your skin that is very similar to the Natasha. It's not like that 2017 glowy highlighter that's just like that bling. It's very diffused. It's very from within. It is very beautiful. I love them. I've compared them together and I feel like they're super duper similar. So maybe if you can't find the Natasha, or maybe it's not at Sephora, but maybe this one is just as good. Love it just as much, and it does the same type of glow, which is really more the type of glow that we're all looking for these days. It's just that juicy, look at me, but I can be diffused down. I can be more subtle, or I can be poppin'. Now, if you're like, Nicole, girl, obviously, we love some high-end. We love some high-end. But those still tend to be a touch pricier in the drop shops or on Sephora or on Ulta. Do you have any other highlight glow suggestions? Because summer is coming. I need it inexpensive, but I need it to be quality. Girl, I got you. Boxycharm got you. If they have again, and I've seen it roll a few times through the drop shops, so even if you don't see it one time, don't think it wouldn't come back around. That includes any of these products I'm telling you about, because I've seen this roaming back and forth a few times. Who remembers me going through the throes of this Cali Glow powder? This is from Beauty Creations. I think you might even still be able to get it, like either from their website or on a Mercari. Beauty Creations did this Cali Glow palette, and I have compared this formula and some of these shades to some of my highest end highlighters, including my ultimate favorite, which was Becca. Becca, this was the formula that I was like, is this like their formula, but their own shades that aren't terribly far off from the Becca ones? So good, so glowy, so dewy. They can build up, they can wear on the body, they can wear on the face. They last all day, and a lot of you guys tried these after I wouldn't shut up about them when I first got them. And those of you that tried it with me, you were like, oh my gosh, this formula. This does remind me of those high-end things, and I think I've seen it roaming around the drop shops for like $5-7. So good. You're not going to run out of this product either, because you get 3 in here, and they're huge pans. I like using these warmer ones in the summertime on the face, but also on the body. Same vibe. $5-7. I've seen it roaming around on the drop shops, and like I said, you could probably find it on Mercari for like $5. So quality. Really quickly, also, if you do see the Natasha Denona Blush Duos roaming around, which I have seen some of these roaming around in the drop shops from time to time, I really do like this formula. The one that I have here is the Blush Duo Tutu and Sheer Peachy Nude. I like combining things. I think these look really great in the spring and summer for me. This is one that I've really liked that I could recommend. Can't really think of too many other blushes that I've really loved as much as this one in comparison. Oh wait, unless you find the KOSAS blush. If you find the KOSAS Blush Duo, I swear this is one of my most used blushes. This one is the Papaya 1972. So good. Sometimes I'll just stick to this. Sometimes I'll combine them depending. I like this a lot. And get them on a deal instead of having to go to Sephora. Why not? Why not? Get them on a deal at the drop shop. Again, take your time. Be patient. It's like thrift shopping. You gotta be patient. I didn't even plan to talk about those, but I just saw them sitting there and I was like, I should tell you. Okay, so over time, I would say over the past 2.5 years from Boxy, face palettes have definitely started making a bigger statement in our boxes. Now, I've talked to death about some of the ones I got from like 2 years ago, so I won't bore you with some of those because those are videos that are already on my channel. Check them out. The one that I've gotten most recently that I would say, if it does show up in the Boxycharm drop shops, or if you start seeing it in the Ulta, Sephora sales, definitely consider this if you like this brand and if you like the formula. This is the OFRA Good to Go Mini Mix palette. This has a little bit of everything. It does have some eyeshadows, it has a blush, it has a bronzer, and it has the stunning highlighter wheel of all of the lights highlighters. Love those highlighters quite a bit. And I obviously have quite a collection of highlighters. I am not in technically want or need, but these are really nice. I love the formula for them. I love the shades and tones. I didn't already have them, so I was really grateful to get them. The bronzer's actually pretty nice. I think I want to try more of their bronzers just because I'm not like totally in love. It's not like I'm gaga over those either. And their blush is pretty nice too. This is more of a matte formula, but it does have a little like shimmer into it. I've noticed a little bit of like gold flecks into it baked in, so it's not overwhelming, but if you do like a little bit more of a pinkier, rosier tone than I've been showing you, that one's pretty nice. The shadows are pretty good too. Maybe not my favorites, but they're still pretty good, and you get it all in one palette. So if you're traveling this summer, what a great fun option right here. And I've definitely seen this roaming around on Boxy. Okay, so who is ready to get into some eyeshadow palettes? Because you know that's one of my kryptonites. I love eyeshadow palettes, and I've got a bunch here, including ones that when I did go through my Boxycharm eyeshadow palettes that I still have, which means I still really like all of these palettes, which if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to go ahead and link it up above because it has a lot of content in there. But I forgot a whole subsection of my eyeshadows because that tells you this girl's got to declutter and reorganize in here. I forgot all of my Natasha eyeshadow palettes. This isn't even all of them right now. I even used another one somewhere today on my eyes, but these are the palettes, or some of the palettes that I have from Boxycharm that are actually from, you know, the brand Natasha, Denona. If you see any color story that is kind of roaming around on the add-ons, or I think some of these are Boxycharm exclusives, so you won't see them on Sephora or Ulta, mostly Sephora. Maybe Natasha's website from time to time. I don't really know how they work with the exclusives. But most of them are quality. There is one that I would say don't get. Unless, I don't know, I mean, you do you. If you love it, get it. But where's it at? I still have it. She's on the very bottom. Let me get her out. Because there was such a weird issue with pressing the first collaboration they did with Natasha, the palettes are hit or miss. You could get one that is amazing like the rest of her palettes, and awesome blessings to you if you get it. If you get the bad one, you're going to be sad you wasted your money. I luckily got this in a box, so I didn't waste my money, but it's the Peak palette from Natasha. This was their first like collaboration, and these shadows are not as quality as the rest of them that I've ever gotten, including the most recent one I got that is the Cupid palette. We think that there was a weird pressing situation, and I know some people got great ones, so they're very confused why people have been frustrated about this palette. I get it. I do. But if you see any of the Natasha palettes roaming around out there outside of that, I would say if you like the color story, snag it. They're amazing. They're quality. Love them. Love, love, love. And I can't believe I forgot to talk about them individually in that video, so I definitely needed to mention them here. And I have seen this in the drop shops. Keep forgetting what they're called. If you see the Dominique Cosmetics, well, if you see any of the Dominique Cosmetics palettes and you are interested in the color story, I recommend her palettes. There was one palette that I wasn't in love with, but this one is my favorite that I've ever tried. It's the Transitions palette. Now, I think I've seen this pretty pricey for drop shop prices on the drop shop. I still think this is quality. So if you are really a neutral lover, and if you like this Transitions shade range, I think it's worth the money. This is something I've compared to the Viseart palette that I have. That's an $80 value. And this one is like, I think retail, it's like $45 maybe. And I think I've seen it in the Boxycharm sales for like 25-ish maybe, if I'm remembering right. So I know that still seems kind of steep considering we've seen stuff for like $5 or $7. some stuff for maybe more like 12 or whatever. So I think this is on the pricier range, but I think these formulas are stunning. I have loved these pigments, these shadows for, I mean, how long have I had this palette now? How long have we had this one? Did you get this? I'm obsessed with it. Highly recommend it. Love her quality of shadows. And I've still seen these guys roaming around, and it has been a couple of years since I got mine. If you see the Tarte Pro palettes, this one is the Remix. I've definitely seen the Remix going around in the drop shops. I love these. I recently pulled these out, and I've had them for years. For St. Patrick's Day, I pulled out this green in one of my recent looks and used it as a liner with a nude base. It was perfect. It stays all day. It's super quality. I love the Amazonian Clay shadow formulas. This one is the Pro Remix. It's a little bit more colorful, but look at all these neutrals too. So it's like you could stick to the neutrals. You could just do a pop of color. That's generally how I've been rolling with it. I like some of these burnt orange shades, the gold shades, even the purple shades are really quality. The blues, the greens, great mirror. I have loved on this palette through the years. Really like it, and I have definitely seen her popping up from time to time. And if you do see the regular Pro palette, I do like this one too. Bunch of matte shades. Over here we got some shimmers in here to liven the palette up, but it's definitely on trend as far as the styles of makeup go, being more natural, snatchural. It's going great into the new season. I like them. I like them a lot. Not sorry I'm still talking about them a couple years later, and I don't think Boxycharm's sorry that they're still in the add-on. So again, if we're not getting makeup in the boxes and you got to get it yourself, these are the things I'm recommending, along with something that I had in one of my fall like use it or declutter it videos that I did, and I liked this palette a lot. And then I just found myself not reaching for it. And I'm like, I need to declutter more. I've got too much stuff in this tiny beauty space. I can't get to the things I want. Can't even open the drawers sometimes. So I pulled this one to the front to kind of like use it or lose it. And I've already hit pan on it because I've fallen in love with it again. And I've used it nonstop for about 2-3 weeks now. Is it neutral? Of course it is. The Zoeva Caramel Melange palette. And I love this formula. This formula is so yummy, so blendable, so smooth. And yes, right there, you see that pan? It is getting deeper and bigger every time I use it. On the shade Finish Sensual. I usually start Sensual in case anybody's curious. Not that this palette needs to know my business, but I start with this a lot in the crease. Kind of, actually, to be real with you, I start with the wax paper, kind of lay down a very base, nude, creamy shade, and then build on top of that, and that's when I go into Finish Sensual. I go into Sensual then. Put it in the middle of my eye look. I have it on today. Little bit of Universal Delight up above that just to start the blend, keep everything going. I've loved this palette quite a bit. If you see any of the Zoeva palettes that are in this format, I've heard really great things about all of them. So it just depends on what color story speaks to you. This I am obsessed with right now. So good. So good. And then to set it all down, I've bought this 2 or 3 times now and I'm at the bottom of it. This is the Tarte Maracuja Miracle Mist. I have used this quite a bit to set down my makeup. And I was without my friend over here from Urban Decay. I got this from a birthday. I usually buy it every year for myself in the 2-pack. So I was out of this, and then this kept popping up in the Boxycharm add-ons, and it is so good. It's a nice mist, as you can see. You can see how it's just very smooth, very easy, and then it just kind of like lets everything set down. It allows everything to absorb in, every bit of your makeup to become one, so nothing is kind of bunching or crunching. It's also a nice midday check-in, which is kind of what I just did, because like I said, the weather is being a little wild today, so this is going to help everything set down, stay together for the rest of the day. And right now I look a little dewy, but it's going to dry down. Don't worry, you'll see here in a second. Girl, we got to talk about some lips really quick before I end out this video. I know this is already really long like usual, but there are some lippies that I am reaching for over and over and over and over and over and over again, even though I have so many. Like, I need to mix it up, but there are certain things that are newer to my collection that I can't stop using, and I've already repurchased at least 1, maybe 2 of these. The first thing that I am in love with is the main lippy I'm using today, is the Huda Beauty Demi Matte Liquid Lipstick. This is the most comfortable freaking matte liquid lipstick I've ever heard of in my life, because it is not really matte. It's got enough juice, hydration to it that it still stays a little bit maybe on the wet side. I am obsessed with this formula, and I bought another one. The first one I got, it was in Day Slayer, which, again, knocked it out of the park with the color Boxycharm. It's probably the first and only time that's ever happened with a lippy for me. Maybe not ever, but you know, it's rare. And then the other shade I purchased on my own from their add-ons, it was Shiro. It's a little bit more of a vampy, not vampy, a little bit of a deeper, rosier shade that reminds me a bunch of an old ColourPop shade that I had that I loved. I think it was like Beeper. Yeah, Beeper. And it was so good. I'm obsessed with both of these. I use these interchangeably, and if I can't find them in my beauty space, it's because it's in my handbag, because I take it on the go, because I wear it that consistently. I love these both the most, I think. Out of all of my lippies, this is my favorite that will last throughout the day, and that gives you enough hydration and enough pigment, and it makes your pout look great. Speaking of making my pout look great, the rest in here are glosses. I'm not sorry. I have two of the Tarte Man-Eater glosses. There is some more tingle to these, and I don't mind it because I think my lips look great. I think the juicy lip pout with this is stunning, and it does give you a little bit of that stinging sensation, but it does plump your lips. I like it. I've had this for a while, but I have found this goes so well with a lot of my lip colors. This is the Rowan Beauty lip gloss. This is in the shade Charlie. I don't remember how long I've had this or when I got it, but this is one of them that I have definitely seen roaming around in there, and I like it. It's like a Thin Mint. It smells like a Thin Mint, and it's got enough opacity to it. It can kind of shift if you have too nude of a shade underneath it, but if you need something that's more complementary to maybe a deeper tone, so good. So good, and again, juices the lips. And what I have today on top of my Huda Beauty Day Slayer is the new Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss. It's a lighter pink. They said it's like a baby pink, but because I've always worn it with a lipstick, I guess I've never noticed, and the doe foot's already colored, so hard to say. But I love how it juices up the lips. You know, anything I have underneath it, even if it's just a liner, this just makes it look complete. It juices everything up. This one does not tingle like the Tarte Man-Eater. The one I have here is in the shade Buff. I have another shade in this too. This one is more of a huge doe foot. Huge doe foot. And it tingles like crazy. A lot of opacity, but also some sticky tact to it. I don't know if you can see right there. It's a little bit more pinky tone, but it definitely has more goopiness to this, and I don't mind it, but it is a different formula than some of these other more smooth, less goopy types. Guys, this is everything I kind of wanted to get into. Obviously, I could go on and on forever, but I'm looking at the time clock and my battery, and I am running out of voice even. I just love talking to you guys about makeup, and I do miss the good quality makeup from Boxycharm. It feels like now it's like there's one here, grab onto it. One there, grab onto it. So when you're looking at the add-ons, if you're looking to purchase your own makeup because maybe you're feeling like I stopped getting Boxycharm, or I'm not getting as much from Boxycharm as I want to at the moment, these are some of my top of mind recommendations that are a little bit more fresh, a little bit more new, or that I've seen going around in the add-ons pop-ups, or that I purchased myself over and over again. I even sought them out from the brand themselves or the Mercari sites because I'm like, I need that. It's so good. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you happen to be new to my loud, weird, crazy, unique channel, hi new friends, I really hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on all of the upcoming videos I have, and there's a lot coming, you guys. Like, I'm working on like another 2 or 3 right now. Bye, friends.